and a plate of our hand-breaded fingers. Oh, and don't forget the napkins. Famous fried chicken, endless sauceabilities. Only at Zaxby's.
You know, you hear a lot about FDA guidelines when it comes to various parts of your life, but I, anyway, had not ever given much thought to the FDA and its involvement with donating blood. But as it turns out, they are very involved, and recently they've made some pretty big positive changes. Dr. Liz Culler is here. She's with Blood Assurance, and she was nodding her head as I said that. This is news you're glad to share, right?
Absolutely. I've been at Blood Assurance for 16 years, and the entire time I've been there, we've been under a restriction where we couldn't allow certain people who have lived in Europe to be able to donate blood, and that guideline has been lifted. So we would love to invite all those donors to return.
So when that guideline was in place, did that mean that if you had lived in Europe ever, or like within the past 5 years, were there limitations on it that way?
There are a couple of different restrictions. One is if you had lived in the UK for 3 months between 1980 and 1996, you could not donate ever.
For 16-year span?
Well,
1980 to 96?
Only 3 months within that span.
But that's
exactly.
a lot. Yeah, that's a very limiting restriction.
Right. And also, if you had lived in France or Ireland for 5 years between 1980 and 2001. So a lot of these were military folks and would make fantastic donors, very willing to donate, very disappointed that they couldn't donate. But luckily, now we would love to have them come back, and we just want to get the word out to the public that that has changed.
Do you happen, I'm not wanting to put you on the hot seat, but do you happen to know what the rationale was for that restriction?
Yes, it's because you may remember mad cow disease.
Yes.
So that was in a lot of cattle during that time, and they believed that that transmitted a disease called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease to people eating the infected meat, and there was a theoretical risk that it could be transfusion transmitted, but there's never been a case of that in this country. Okay. So FDA just went back and re-looked at the data, and they thought, you know, the risk is negligible. We've never even had a case of this.
Right.
So let's accept these donors back.
And when they are doing that, when they're making these reviews, the FDA, does that come about because doctors like you kind of petition to say, I wish you would review this, or is that how it works?
That's exactly right. They have an advisory committee that advises them, and they get advice from the industry and from various experts. And yes, as things change over the years, we can go back and ask that they review the data and that sort of thing.
I guess what doesn't ever change, I mean, it never changes, is that you have enough blood.
That is so true.
And I'm not trying to say that in an ugly way, but you think about it, this is even a small percentage of people that are now eligible donors, multiplied all over the world. That's a big impact for you.
You're exactly right. A lot of times we have 60 units of O negative to play with every day, because O negative donors are only 6.6% of the population.
Is that because that's the most rare blood type?
It's not the most rare, but it's close to it, and it's also the only type that can be used in an emergency when you don't know someone's blood type. So it may not sound like a big change, but when you're only getting 60 a day and you're welcoming back these new donors, even if I could just get 1 or 2 extra a day, it would have a huge impact.
Yeah, I didn't do well in statistics in college, but I remember that kind of an idea. So you mentioned the O negative. Is that still the primary blood type you need?
Yes, today we need any sort of O's. We need both O negative and O positive, because there are some things that we can do in emergencies. There are certain populations of people we can use O positive for instead of O negative, but we need both of those. Those are the most important blood types.
What percent, do most of us know our blood type? Because I'll raise my hand right now and tell you I don't know mine. And is that a risk for me to not know my blood type?
Well, they are going to type you when you get to the hospital, but before they know your blood type for sure, they're going to just give you the O negative just to be on the safe side.
So if there's, I mean, often, you know, firefighters are often the first to the scene, right? Did they come equipped with some O negative blood that they are able to utilize always?
They do not. You know, only certain people are trained and can recognize transfusion reactions. So only certain people can administer blood products, but they have it, for example, on the helicopters. So the helicopters, if you had an accident, they would land and go ahead and start administering blood products.
Right. So, you know, we were talking about the FDA restrictions being lifted. Maybe this is just an old urban myth from my earlier years that I'm remembering, but used to be, I thought, that if you had ever had anemia, you could not donate blood. Is that still the case?
That is no longer the case. As long as they've identified the reason for the anemia, you've been treated, and you're healthy and well now, we would love to have you back.
So when you come in to donate blood, because hopefully people will want to come in.
Yes.
I'm guessing there's kind of a health form that you fill out.
There is, and we also do a finger stick just to make sure it's safe for you to donate, because we wouldn't want to put your health in danger. We would make sure you're healthy enough to donate.
Right. Are there multiple locations where people can make the blood donations?
Absolutely. I would love for people to visit our website at bloodassurance.org. We have 15 locations plus 16 mobiles.
Okay.
So you can put in your zip code and the date you want to donate, and it will tell you the closest location.
Because what a great outing for things like church youth groups or something like that, to kind of get people to do it together.
Absolutely, and it takes less than an hour. You can do it on your lunch hour or right after work.
Well, it's always nice to see you. And how nice that you have a chance to spread, I know what for you is very good news, that you can welcome more people in now to make those donations.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Always great to see you. So if you want to be one of the many people to go out and give blood, truly you would be saving a life, no matter your blood type. Please consider giving. But if you happen to know already that you are any type of O blood, they would really love to see you walk through those doors. Bloodassurance.org is how you can see the different locations around the area. 756-0966 is their phone number. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm Chris Stevens from Total Concepts Furniture.